702.
The Big Interview
With Bongani Bingwa.
On to this now. Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts taking a dramatic step, voting to pursue criminal charges against the former CEO of the Road Accident Fund, Collins Letsoalo, after he repeatedly failed to show up before the committee. We'll go back towards the end of last year when Letsoalo was formally summoned to account for his leadership at the embattled Road Accident Fund. And instead of appearing, he pushed back through his lawyers, arguing in fact SCOPA had no authority to question him and challenging the legality of the summons itself. Songezo Zibi, of course, is the chair of SCOPA and joins us now to bring us up to speed on this matter. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. You and I have spoken about this previously, but perhaps for a bit of background, let's go back to where all of this began. It has to do with his refusal to come and account to SCOPA, doesn't it?
Good morning, Bongani. It's always good to be with you as well. Yes, so we had an inquiry last year. We're busy finalizing the report now. We had an inquiry into the affairs of the Road Accident Fund. We invited him. He refused to come. We summoned him. He didn't come. And it's a criminal offense to not respond to a summons from Parliament. And so we are going to be laying charges probably in the next day or two.
Can he say, for example, because I know one of the difficulties was being able to deliver that summons to him. There was some lack of clarity around an address and where to deliver that. Could he say that he never received said summons and therefore couldn't respond to them?
I suspect that's one of the things he may say in court. But the Parliament tried everything. He gave us an address. He used to write to us from an address. We went there. The house was abandoned. We went back to his former employer, asked for an alternate address. Nobody responded to the door there, even though we were reliably informed that he actually stays there. Sheriff went there several times. Eventually affixed the summons on the gate of his residence. We went further. We published the summons on Parliament's Facebook page, on Parliament's Twitter page, on Parliament's Instagram page. It was sent to him on SMS and it was sent to him on email. So Parliament has taken all reasonable steps to make sure that he knows that we were looking for him and he didn't respond. But he's most welcome to make that argument in court.
And I mean, without getting too stuck on the details of that, I think in some of the correspondence via his lawyers, has he not made reference to the summons?
No, he didn't make reference in my recollection, but he did on the eve of his last appearance, supposed appearance or intended appearance, make reference to the summons in an interview with Clement Manyatela. So he certainly was aware of it.
All right,
and that's one of the errors that he's made if he used to claim that he didn't know that Parliament was looking for him.
All right, understood. So, of course, what's at issue for members of the public is the nearly 45 billion rand that the Road Accident Fund gets from the taxpayer every year.
No, absolutely. There were so many issues that the committee wanted to canvass with him. There was the issue of the escalating unresolved claims. There's over 450,000 at the moment. Escalating legal fees, both to the Road Accident Fund's own attorneys as well as to plaintiffs' attorneys due to failure to defend claims, inflated claims, ill treatment of staff. But the committee was particularly concerned with how the Road Accident Fund was paying lawyers to do the work of HR. I can go on for the next 30 minutes, Bongani. So we wanted to give him an opportunity to explain from his perspective what led to all of this and what steps he may have taken to fix it, but he refused.
Where is the Road Accident Fund now? I mean, of course, Collins Letsoalo is no longer at the helm. How much of your concerns are being addressed as we speak?
Look, we've had incredible cooperation from Minister Creasy and Deputy Minister Mkhuleko Hlengwa, as well as the interim board of the Road Accident Fund. So that's been pleasing for us to see. But there remain challenges at the Road Accident Fund, even though they've speeded up the payment of claims. I think virtually all the executive management are acting. The next layer from the executive is also acting because the people that are there are now acting in the executive. And there continues to be numerous challenges where the Road Accident Fund is not able to turn up in court to defend the claims. This has got serious implications for taxpayers, Bongani, because a claim that should be finalized, say, at 500,000 Rand, if the Road Accident Fund is not there to defend it, can get finalized at 3 million, which is why with about 43 billion, they used to finalize about 217,000 claims a year. They're now doing about 72,000 for the same money, which means the claims are heavily inflated. Due to non-defense here.
I know you're saying you're still compiling the report, but from your sense, I mean, who stands to benefit here? This isn't merely a case of a lack of oversight. There seems to be a hidden hand that's cashing in.
Now, it's difficult to pinpoint to one person, but I'll tell you where most of the money goes. So firstly, the claimants who should not be getting these sums of money do get large sums of money. That's proven. That was presented to us by the former actuarial head of the Road Accident Fund, inflated by about 70%. The second thing is that a lot of money goes to attorneys and advocates, because when the Road Accident Fund does not turn up in court, they still need to get paid, and the Road Accident Fund bears the cost. Thirdly, when the Road Accident Fund unnecessarily contests a matter that can be settled, it results in legal fees. So a lot of the sums that Mr. Letsoalo would bandy about in public were actually due to the Road Accident Fund's failure to litigate, failure to turn up in court and so on. And so you've got these massive cost orders against the Road Accident Fund. And in interviews, the response that he would give would be, oh, the judges are corrupt. But to this day, the Road Accident Fund does not turn up in court in a lot of instances to defend inflated claims. That started under his tenure. It's continued since.
And that's not to mention, of course, the changing of the accounting standard and some clever number crunching there.
That was actually quite egregious because it wasn't just clever number crunching. The board was actively misled in terms of the technical advice that had been taken and what it actually said. So we called the supposed technical advisors in the form of a PwC, as well as an accounting firm called Mora, and both of them denied emphatically and produced evidence that what management presented to the board was actually false and potentially a fraud, a business fraud in any event, but it was an active misrepresentation. And that was not the only instance where the board was actively misled. So as you can see, there were many, many things that we needed to canvass to clear up, because there may have been a reasonable explanation, but we never got one.
So, I mean, this isn't just about him evading Parliament. At some point, we need to get to some accountability for all that you've mentioned.
Yeah, so, look, we can't call him anymore. The inquiry is done. We're going to lay criminal charges. But in terms of the report, the recommendations are likely to include, will most likely include, people having to pay back money that they've either received in an unduly so or corruptly, one. Secondly, in cases of recklessness where they should have thought about and done things better, we are likely to ask that those monies be paid back. We're likely to recommend further investigations by the police, as well as a special investigating unit, disciplinary actions against some people, and also recommendations in terms of what amendments need to be made to the legislation. The Road Accident Fund Act is exceptionally defective in my view for many reasons, but that may be a discussion for another day.
All right, appreciate your time. Songezo Zibi is the chair of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.